All right, well, it's Wednesday, April 6th, time for the QA demo session. Today your host is going to be Brad Williams. Helping out is me, Scott Olson, Director of Marketing, Steve Gomez, Educator, Barry Einerson, the Trading Room Moderator. Audience is muted. Please direct your questions to the questions panel. And if you have a question directly for Brad, you can hold that until he's taking questions later on in the presentation in the second half. Otherwise, Steve, Barry, and myself will be trying to take care of you in the questions panel. Before we get started, a couple questions for you. I like to do this just to keep track of who is attending the different sessions. Are you currently an active Trade Ideas subscriber? There's a question on a poll on your screen. Please use that to vote. And I'll leave this open just long enough for the majority of people in the room already to go ahead and vote. It's nice for us to keep a little idea of the demographics of our visitors for the sessions. Let a few more of you vote. And notice not everyone has participated yet. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close the poll, share that out. It looks like we've got a nice mix today, half and half. Quick follow-up question for those of you who answered yes in the last one. Do you have the OddsMaker AI license? It's a one-time cost, and it is active whenever you have an active Trade Ideas subscription, but the access to AI and the higher functionality is yours for life. It's just a one-time purchase to add that to your Trade Ideas capabilities. I'll let this stay open for just another moment. And for those of you who are not currently subscribers or don't currently have the OddsMaker, stay tuned for the end of the presentation. We will have a way for you to come on board, save some money. Excellent. Thanks for participating. So it looks like we have a majority of existing subscribers attending today that do have the AI and the OddsMaker, which is great. Like I mentioned, we'll have a way for those of you who don't currently have it yet to hop on board with that. Now I'm going to go ahead and let Brad take over and deliver his wisdom. I'll jump back on a little bit later to explain our pricing structure and give you the sales. Brad?
Thank you very much, Scott. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday QA webinar. This is really intended to be a very interactive session, so I hope that it will be that. We just completed a very successful open house where we were able to show off our software to a lot of people that hadn't previously had an opportunity to see it. And as a result, we have a lot of new subscribers to the software right now. And if you guys could do me a favor, as a result of that, I'd like to have an idea really of the people that are subscribers, how long you've really been a subscriber with Trade Ideas. I don't have a poll for you, but there is a question. If you can just kind of type it in there, that'll give me an idea, you know, kind of who my audience is here today. And I'm going to treat this as an overview. I'm going to give you guys an overview of the software from the standard perspective, so you see what the standard subscription's like. I'm going to show you what the premium subscription has to offer for you, and hopefully just really answer any questions that you guys may have. This is a pretty comprehensive platform. We've been doing this for about 14 years, so there's a lot of nuances to the software, and we want to make sure that everybody doesn't have any questions that go unanswered. So I appreciate everybody typing that in there. A lot of new people here, so it's super exciting. I'm gonna let me just get started here with the presentation. Presentation is super short. It's really not much of a presentation at all, but most of this is really product demonstration. But I do have to let you guys know that we are not a registered investment advisor, and all of the symbols and stocks and everything that I'm talking about here today shouldn't be construed as investment advice. Rather, it's educational information for the use of our software. Very, very important that everybody knows that with the subscription of Trade Ideas comes a variety of different resources that are extremely helpful in having you understand how to get the most out of our software. First and foremost, we offer a trading room that's hosted daily, and it's free. And this is a fantastic room of a couple hundred traders that are super successful. It's hosted by our trading moderator, Barry, and he does a fantastic job showing how to use TradeIdeas technology in real time, making live calls, trading real money, and doing what you're supposed to be doing with the TradeIdeas tech. So if you're not familiar with this, please make yourself aware. It'd be a crime not to even enter in and see what we have to offer here. If you go to our homepage, trade-ideas.com, in the upper right-hand area, you're going to see a link for the trading room. So just go ahead and select that, and it's a live screen share done throughout the day. Really impressive stuff goes on there, so I highly recommend it. In addition to that, we do webinars throughout the week. We do webinars on Monday, we do webinars today on Wednesday, and we also have a webinar that we do on Thursday. So there's always information being conveyed about our software. And in addition to those various webinars that we do, we also have a one-on-one training session that every new user of TradeIdeas is entitled to sign up for, and you can do that again on our website in the support section. You sign up for that, and there's a 1-hour screen share session that takes place between one of our support personnel and you, and we make sure that you really understand how to use the software. We connect to your desktop, make sure that everything is set up the way that you want to be set up. So that's really important to know. And so you're really never alone when you're using TradeIdeas. You have a variety of different resources and a ton of videos that we put together on our YouTube page. So please know that all of that is there for you. In the premium version of our software, we do have a component of it with artificial intelligence. We call her Holly. This is our running total of how we're doing with respect to our artificial intelligence against the spiders, and that's the benchmark that we're using here. And we started this at the beginning of the year, have been keeping track, and have been doing pretty good. We're really excited about that, and I'll have an opportunity to show you some of the nuances of not only the premium package in general, but the artificial intelligence, specifically Holly, in the channel that we offer. So let me just go ahead and close this right down. So you guys, with respect to the questions, I do have a couple guys that are sitting here answering, these questions, and you're welcome to fire them off as I'm kind of running through the software. But like Scott said initially, if you want me to address something and get specific with it, I'm absolutely more than happy to do it. And in fact, that's what we're here for. But just save that till just a little bit later, maybe at the top of the hour, a little bit before, and we can start taking those, and I can start running through that. I have a full agenda if nobody has any questions, but hopefully you guys do and can kind of lead me, with respect to those questions. What I'm showing you right here is our downloadable software product. This is TradeIdeas Pro. I said at the onset that we've been doing this for about 14 years. We started this in 2002, and we really had just one focus in mind, and that's really be the best idea generation technology that we could be. We wanted to really specifically focus on one aspect of the financial services market, and that's what we did. And when we started off, that number of years ago, we just really had one window type, one interface to this data set, and over that time, we've really created a variety of different visualization windows. The first window was the alert window, and then we created a top list window and a multi-strategy window, and you have all of these different visualization windows at your disposal to really get the most out of this idea generation technology. Idea generation technology at its core, we have a data center in San Diego where we're connected to the exchanges, to a variety of different market centers, whether it's the Oprah exchange for options data, we're connected to StockTwits for social data, connected to the NYSE, to NASDAQ to get the regular market data, and we bring it all together in our data center in San Diego, and we do some interesting things with that data that makes this application possible. When that data is coming in real time, we're making note of it, and we're feeding it into the database and keeping track of statistical baselines on a lot of different metrics on every single stock on every different time frame. So that's a big mouthful, but we're creating this new type of data. For instance, volume, right? Volume comes in, and you have, from the exchanges, you have a total volume field that we get, and that's pretty much the general volume. that you get from the exchanges, but we take that volume and we break it down. We break it down into the 1 minute volume. What's normal for every stock with 1 minute? What's normal cumulative to the day for every stock at every time during the day? Having that information at our disposal allows us to generate signals and alerts very, very quickly, and this is a tool that's like a piece of clay. It's something that you can configure to really deliver exactly what you would like to see out of the software. But before you become an expert in the software, because when you start out, nobody's an expert here, we've created a way that allows you to really peruse a variety of different pre-configured themes, pre-configured windows, setups that we've put together for you. And we've done that in terms of a channel bar that you would see in your upper left-hand corner. So the default layout usually comes up with a channel bar right here. And this is like, it's really like a remote control to the market, if you will. If you don't like what you're looking at, you can change the channel and look at something different. But the different themes that we have, and you can just kind of scroll up and down. The first theme that we're looking at right here happens to be a social media theme. So this is our social media channel. And like I said earlier, we're connected not only to the markets, but also to StockTwits. And StockTwits is very much like Twitter for the financial markets. And when people are talking about stocks, they're doing it on StockTwits. And when they're talking about stocks more than normal or less than normal, we have a way of identifying that information in real time. So everything that you see on this particular screen right here, every symbol in these 4 different windows are all symbols that are being talked about much more than normal on that StockTwits social sphere. And an example, so each one of these windows has a column in here that's very specific to that. StockTwits relative activity happens to be the column that we're looking at and sorting on to really give us the relevant information that we're looking at. Stocks like VSR being talked about 39,000% of normal. ARZL, 37,000% normal, and that's super significant. But even when you're talking about something being talked about like Tesla, 300%, 3 times normal, well, that's significant. And we bring that information right to the top of your mind so that you can then click on that symbol and take a look at what's going on. And we have charting that's offered in the standard package as well. And with that charting, you have all the different time frames. In the software, by the way, everything is right-click menu oriented. So when you right-click in any one of the windows, you're going to be presented with a menu that's specific to that particular window, offering you a variety of things that you can do with it. So here are the different time frames that you can look at. You can do markups on these charts. So as you're getting a signal presented to you, you can go ahead and have that visually displayed in one of our analytical windows. But we also, well, we didn't always have charts. We only introduced charts into the software about a year ago. And before that, we have a fantastic tool that allows you to link with a variety of different charting or trading brokerage applications, so that when you click on a symbol, the level 2 window of the brokerage app or the chart will update accordingly. And that's what we call our external linking. So that's always something that's available in the software in addition to having the charting. So this is the social channel, and in this channel I was mentioning these 4 different windows. 3 of them happen to be top lists. And that's just one of the ways that we can visualize the data. It's really a ranked list of stocks based on all the different filters that you have set up in a particular sort order that you have engaged. And so what I'm looking at here is just a list of stocks that are being discussed today more than normal and trending up. So the combination of those 2. This happens to be being discussed more than normal today, but trending down. So those are our top list windows. And then we have a social media stream, and this happens to be a multi-strategy window. The type of window that it is indicated by that icon in the upper left corner. The multi-strategy window is really one of the most powerful windows that we have in the software, because while it's only taking up a small section of space right here, it really has about 25 different strategies that it's looking at. So when any one of these strategies triggers an event, it's going to go ahead and send that notification to the top of the window. So in this window, I'm looking for 52-week highs and lows, stocks crossing moving averages, post-market movers, extreme climactic movers, all these different events. But in order for that event to occur, it also needs to be being talked about more than normal on social media. So that's how you really kind of cascade and stack different criterias on top of each other to create a strategy, if you will. So this just is our social media. Part of the pre-market routine is going through a variety of different channels. Perhaps the pre-market channel is the one that you're going to look at before the market opens and have an idea of what stocks happen to be gapping up or gapping down significantly. Or if you're looking at this multi-strategy window down at the bottom, you're going to be getting some other information, stocks that are making pre-market highs and pre-market lows, moving on volume in the pre-market. So an actionable stream of information that's going to be triggering right in front of you here on this pre-market channel. And then this other window that I have on the bottom right, this is our single stock window. And the single stock window, right now it's set onto the pro side where you can see exactly what does that business do, or what does that stock or ETF do. But on that other tab right here, you can really drill into some of the special data points that we have inside of our software: relative volume, where it is in its 5-day range, its year range, all of these different types of metrics. So that's a single stock window. And if you happen to be on a different channel, like let's go to the surge channel, where we don't happen to have one of those single stock windows, you can always pop one up really quickly from any one of these different visualization windows that we have by right-clicking and selecting the Send to the single stock window. And this single stock window, it's going to come up based upon your defaults. Well, there's an initial default, but you can always customize it so that it has just the data points that you're most interested in. And once you configure it and customize it, just go ahead and save it as default. So the next time you bring it up, it's going to come up in the manner that you last saved it. So that's a little bit of a trick to the software. But the surge channel, this is a fantastic channel because it's looking for stocks that are really moving on significant volume. And like I said earlier in the presentation, TradeIdeas does volume. It does a fantastic job with volume, and it analyzes it and looks at it in a variety of different ways. So volume is a real interesting characteristic to some of this price action that may be occurring here in any one of these windows. And all of these different windows, well, it's very possible that you're going to see the same symbol repeating itself in a variety of these different windows, and that's really by design. It's so that your information is being reinforced. And for instance, this top window right here, if I right-click in it, you can see the strategies. Well, there aren't 25 different strategies, just about, well, there are 7 different strategies right here, and each one is looking for some type of movement on significant volume. And you can see the symbols that are coming through here. RPT. I think this happened to be one that was that we were trading today in the AI, but it really did light up here at the end. Yeah, just some real interesting stuff. And this other window below it, this most upward momentum right now, this is a real, it's kind of a non-standard window because the alert window in general, right, that's the window with the A in the upper left corner. This is, by default, it's a chronologically based window. That means that the most recent event is always going to appear on top right here. Well, there are different ways to set these windows up, and right now after the market's over, I mean we're 45 minutes after the market closed, there's not a lot of info that's going to be coming in, but if you watch this in real time, you're going to see these bottom 2 windows do something a lot different than the other windows, and it happens to be because these windows have a group and sort setup. So if you go into properties and you select the view mode and then group and sort, this now allows this window to populate in a different way, completely different than the chronologically based alert window that I was talking about earlier. Now what this particular window is going to do, every new event is going to be sorted, and this is just a nuance, by the way, of this particular surge channel, because this is the only, I believe it's the only window that we have set up like this in our channels, but it's really interesting because what it does is it's sorting this count column right here. So as a new signal comes in right here, it's going to populate in this window, but it's going to stay sorted here on count. And what you're going to find is the stocks that really have the most momentum, that have made the most new highs, that are really moving, are going to be at the top of this list. And you might have to stretch a window like this out so you can see, all of the different events that may be happening. And a window like this also can be really interesting if in the middle of the day, as it's going off, you just right-click in here and you select clear. Because what that does, that erases the window, and then it starts listening from scratch again. So it's now listening for a new event and will now resort it based upon that count. So if you have an opportunity tomorrow, take a look at the Surge channel. This is, it's my favorite channel. It's, I did have a piece in making most of them, but this one right here, it really resonates with me the way the volume comes in with the price action, and you do get some confirmation with respect to the volume surge window in addition to the explosive daily range. So this is an interesting top list. It's looking at really the range of that daily bar. So today's candle, and really taking a look at it. So this is that column, today's range, and this WB happened to be at 435% of normal. So it's 4.3 times normal. So VSR, this guy right here, happens to be 3.65 times normal. And so we have some other properties in here. If you were to go into properties, you can set these charts up to show you not only pre-market but post-market activity, so you can see something like that as well. So I have someone that said, let's pull up VRX. Let's do that. Yeah, this is one that we've been trying to find an entry point in, and it really is fairly volatile, but this is something that is interesting, and it is starting to perhaps kind of come back up. So with respect to something like that, so we have all these different channels, and it's really important that you take the time to kind of see what we have. Down towards the bottom, there is an after hours channel. So this is a channel that's really focused on after hours volume and after hours movement. So this is something that everybody should be aware of. And one of the things when you have time, it's nice to be able to just go through the software and see what are the different data points that we have to offer. And you can really do that in any one of the windows. If you right-click, go to Configure, go to Search. This is the part that I think everybody should do, and you should look at the different filters that are available to you. Things that aren't available to in most software applications, like volume 5 minutes. What's been going on in the last 5 minutes? And then you just scroll down and see the breadth of different filters that we have, because it's really the filters that allow you to paint the picture as to what has been happening in that particular stock, not only right now, but a little historically as well. So, this is the standard package. I want to make sure everybody's, the standard package, you get the charting, the top list, alert, multi-strategy, single stock window, the compare count window, which is another visualization window that's having two strategies battle each other, and it gives you that visual confirmation as to who's winning in the market. So that's all part of the standard. But we also have a premium subscription, and with the premium subscription, you're entitled to a variety of additional tools over and above what you have in the standard. First and foremost, you have access to the odds maker. And the odds maker is our back testing tool. It allows you to create a strategy and hypothesize how that strategy would have done if you were to go back and execute a set of instructions every time a signal occurs. Now, let me give you an example of that, and I'll do it based on one of our AI strategies. So let me pull up a window right here. This is a base multi-strategy window for some of our AI strategies. What I'm going to do is one that triggered today. We're going to pull up Moxie. This is a new strategy, and I'm just going to open up the alert window. So I'm going to talk a little bit, not right at this moment, but I'm going to talk about our AI engine and what it does and what's special about it. But it all starts here with the odds maker. And the odds maker, like I said, it allows you to take a strategy and see how you would have performed if you would have bought or sold every instance of a signal. And what I'm going to do here is I have this strategy. This happens to be one of our AI bases. This is not the final output, but what is really fed into the AI engine. And this strategy right here doesn't trade during the first hour of the market, and this is what you have the ability to do. You have the ability to set up these instructions. Like, you don't want to trade the first hour, the first half hour, you set that right here. You don't want to trade the last hour, you set that. So we're only trading, I'm on the West Coast, we start at 6:30. I'm not going to start until 7, and I'm going to stop initiating any positions an hour before, which is noon my time. The hypothesis here is I'm going to hold this for 60 minutes. Anytime there's a signal that's generated, I'm holding it for 60 minutes. And I'm going to enable my smart stop, which is an algorithm based upon the relative volume, the range of the stock, and there are a few other metrics in it, but it's special to every stock based on its trading footprint of the day. The advanced, I'm testing for 40 days. That's 40 trading days. And the summary just kind of gives you a summary of that. This is a long strategy, so I'm going to simulate the buy. And now what's happening is it's going back and it's looking at every instance of every signal over the last 40 trading days and hypothesizing how it would have done if I would have bought every signal, held it for 60 minutes, used my smart stop, and then I'm given this type of metric right here. And this tells me really how successful that strategy is. Now, this is a base strategy, and because it's a base strategy, it generates a lot of trades because the artificial intelligence, Holly, at the end of the day is going to go through this strategy and add some filters to it to make it more profitable, and it's what we call an optimization process. So this right here is the odds maker, and with a premium subscription, everybody has access to this. You can create an alert window, back test it, refine it. See, the real power here in the odds maker is not just the data that it's telling you. Tremendous amount of data, the calendar heat map where you can go back and see how you did every day for a particular month, a particular day. But the optimization tab is really where the power lies, and this is what we developed before we invented Holly, quite frankly. It was this manual way to look at data to really strip away everything and look at every filter that we have and see exactly how changing those values would affect the output of a strategy. Combining that with in-sample and out-of-sample data allows us to create new strategies every day based upon a base. So it takes a base and it looks back the last 40 days and says this base should have a relative volume filter, a minimum value of 2.3, and should have a maximum 120-minute range of 2%. It goes through and it makes suggestions and creates strategies on top of the bases to bring up the artificial intelligence. So that kind of leads me in. I can't give away the Moxie strategy right now. Sorry, guys. It's part of the AI, and something like this gets, the reason why I can't give it away is because what it does is, well, I could give the base away. I don't mind doing that, but the real strategy and the real value is what the AI is doing to the base. It's adding different filters to it. And by the way, this is also a strategy that's using a symbol list that's been created. It's been created by this particular alert algorithm, looking for stocks that have had an unusual number of prints for the week before, and then using that symbol list to feed this strategy. So it's a little bit more complex than that, but I wanted to highlight the way that we can dive into this data, look at it, parse it out, and really see, when should you be trading this strategy? This one here, it looks like it's pretty successful, for most of the day. But when you pull a strategy up and you see that trading before 8 o'clock yields a result less than 50%, that's really important information, and that's the information that Holly uses when creating the strategies. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna close this right here and bring up the artificial intelligence channel, which is another part of the premium subscription. And this is something that we released. Well, we released it just before the first of the year. I want to say like December, maybe late November for the early adopters of the technology. But essentially what Holly is, we have fed Holly 45 different base strategies. That means strategies that are not yet complete but are concepts, they're ideas. And we give her these 45 strategies, and at the end of every day, she takes these strategies and she runs it through the odds maker, her own version of it, and looks at all the different filters that we have inside of TradeIdeas, all the special data points, and figures out really what filters should be added to maximize the profitability of any strategy. And what we do with respect to using out-of-sample data really ensures that nothing that is being computed can really be called curve fitting. We're not taking a set of data and kind of backwards going into that data and finding out what works best. We're taking a blind set of data rather. That's a segmented set of data, doing that optimization on it and then testing it on a set of data that's never been touched or looked at. And that allows us to really refine these strategies every single day. So for instance, these are let me explain what we're all looking at here. So this happens to be the AI strategy window. And the AI strategy window is going to display different strategies every day. And these strategies are displayed based upon, well, after Holly goes through and optimizes all the different strategies, there's then a competition, if you will, to see which strategies are going to make it for the next day. And we have certain threshold benchmarks that need to be met for every strategy: an out-of-sample profit factor, a win percentage, an out-of-sample win percentage. So when those metrics are met, then it will be visible in this AI strategy window the next day. And the one thing, let's just say you come in tomorrow and you see Moxie there as well, it's almost certain that the Moxie that was traded today will be a little different than the Moxie that is traded tomorrow. It's not a guarantee by any stretch, but most likely there have been some impact of the current day on that particular strategy. Mob long, that happens to be a strategy that's looking for social, I showed you that social channel early. This is a strategy that's looking to a social metric to determine whether that signal should be triggered or not. So all of these different strategies appeared today. Not every one of them generated signals. Most of them did. So you can see here, if I was to go to this filter and selected inactive strategies, these two strategies right here didn't generate any signals. And the reason that is, each of these strategies, they do have a variety of different market filters on there as well. So if the market's not doing something that is important for that strategy to be successful, then it's just simply not going to trigger. But this was a pretty good day from the AI perspective, and you can see from this graphical chart right here exactly how the profitability of the day ensued. So, it started off, I think, up and down 10 cents, really negligible, because when you get into a position, the stock has to breathe. Very rarely do you get into something and it doesn't breathe, it just continues. Certainly that's a possibility, but that doesn't always happen. And today, what did we have? We had 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 22 different signals that occurred on a variety of different strategies. And so right here, these are the different signals that occurred. And during the day, let me bring up an image so you can kind of get more of a real-time view of how something like this would look through the day. So this is something that I took a snapshot today. I don't remember what time it was, but I guess you could, it was pretty early in the day. The entry time of the last position was 8:25. But the way that it works is when a strategy trade is initiated, it's populated into this open position window right here, and it's keeping track of the profitability of that trade. It's keeping track in real time, and every single position that we suggest through the AI, it comes with a time stop. That means the expectation for being in that position is set up, optimized rather, to be in for 60 minutes or 45 minutes or a certain time of the day. But they also have stop losses. And so we make sure that every position has a maximum amount that it could possibly lose. And that's really important to the risk management of this. Another thing that's really important to note is this maximum profit column. And this is a column that's right next to the profit, and it's right next to the profit for a reason, so that you can see at any given time how far off of the high is that position. How far has it pulled back? And that's really relevant information. Everything here is sortable, so you can click on a header and everything will sort either in ascending, and then click it again and it'll do it in descending, or vice versa. And then we also have the distance to the stop, and you can see in this upper window right here, each one of these strategies is utilizing the smart stop mechanism. And utilizing that smart stop, this tells you exactly how far away from the stop each one of these positions is, and this obviously updates in real time as well. So that's like the initial snapshot of what's happening. So we got into some positions early. These were all long positions. In the upper right hand corner, we keep that spider chart so you can get idea of the broader market and what's happening. You know, is this bullish sentiment, bearish sentiment? And in addition to that, we've got that compare count window right below it, and that compare count's letting you know, are there more new highs being made or more new lows being made? So not is the market up or is the market down, but which way is it going right now? Who's winning? And that's all important information as you're putting on these long positions to have confidence in what may be happening. So let me bring up another one a little bit later into this move, right? So this is, we're up 239 right here. The market's been fairly bullish and moving up, but it's just starting to turn. And when it just starts to turn, certain things you want to look at. You want to look at, you know, this max profit. How far away from these data points are you? And at this point, it looked pretty good. It didn't look like there was much of a problem from that perspective. So as we come in here, then we see here, this pullback is continuing to come in, right? So what's the effect of that pullback? And this is kind of the mentality that I have when looking at something like this. So you've got the market, and this is a 15-minute chart. Last 30 minutes, 45 minutes has been weak, has been kind of pulling back a little bit. But how has that affected your profitability of your strategies? And it hasn't really affected it too much here. So this is good information to ingest. And then you can look at, sort this on your profit column. I scrolled down, so I looked at just my losers right here, and I wanted to see, how is this affecting my losers? Scroll up. How is this affecting my winners? How far has it come off from my max profit? Kind of the information that you take in. And then right here, it's pulled back and the turn's starting, and it pretty much held our profitability. The compare count is green. We think we're completely out of the woods right here, but, well, you never think that when you're trading. But then the market really did just kind of come down. And of course, the market has to breathe. That's important, and it's important for it to be able to do that, to be able to regather some strength and some momentum. But it's really important that you look at certain things. So in this pullback right here, it's a little bit of an uncomfortable spot. I'm still open a good number of positions. That's 11 positions that are open. I've pulled back about $1 off of the highs right here, not quite. So that's all information that you have to ingest. And one thing that you never want to happen when you're trading is you never want to take a winner and turn that winner into a loser, or take your profitability and turn this into a negative. So it's important that you don't let that happen. But the market is dynamic, and right about that point where it looked like the market was coming in, it did find a little bit of support. And just like the market holding, our profitability held at that level. I don't think it ever got worse than what we saw on that previous image. But those are just some of the things that you would be looking at as the market is moving and adjusting in real time. So I'm going to go ahead and there are a few other little nuances that you get with the premium subscription. I'll talk about that real briefly, and then I'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. But that's our price alert window, and this is probably the latest technology that we've introduced to TradeIdeas. The price alert window is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I can't believe we didn't come up with this a lot sooner, because it is such an incredible tool to be able to make sure that you never forget anything. So while this is coming in here, I think this is because I'm about 7 minutes after the top of the hour. I'm going to bring Scott back. He can talk a little bit about our subscriptions, how our pricing works, and then I'll get back to the limit alert and take any questions that you guys have.
Hey, it sounds good. Yeah, so thanks, Brad. We're a software as a service company at TradeIdeas. So our core are subscriptions. Our standard subscription is a monthly, and that's $99 per month. And that includes all kinds of great stuff already, like all the real-time data and exchange fees, charting that we added last year, and a full hour of one-on-one training. You just go and sign up for it. As soon as you get your subscription active, go to the support page, click on training, and sign up. Pick your preferred time and date, and we'll go ahead and make that happen for you. Of course, you can also sign up on a yearly basis. There's no contract for either the monthly or the annual, but the annual saves you a bunch. Instead of $99 a month, it's $888 total per year. It's great savings. Now, for the higher function stuff, the price alerts is the newest example of that, but also the AI, Holly, and it's trades that are working in the market right now and have been tested and optimized for today. And the backtesting tool, that's a one-time $1,100 cost for the AI channel and strategies. Again, that gets you the backtesting tool. You can backtest everything yourself, optimize your own strategies, or use Holly and find stuff that's performing in the market now. And this is all done with no programming, although we do have custom filters available for you if you want to get into that. So the high functionality is a one-time $1,100 license and just requires the data to function. So that's the regular subscription. So a little bit later, I will give you some discount codes if you're not currently a subscriber or if you want to pick up the AI and access to that. Before that, I think Brad's going to get into answering some more of your questions and showing you the new functionality. Brad?
Thanks, Scott. So yeah, let me just talk briefly here about the price alert window. I think we initially came to market with it and called it the limit alerts. But the price alert really allows you to ensure that you're not going to be forgetting about a particular symbol. Your eyes are amazing when you're talking about identifying opportunities in the marketplace. So this price alert allows you to set any type of notification via our chart. So for instance, I'm not going to get into the full example. Let me do this right here. Let me bring up a window. Well, let's just do this. Let's use our AI today, some of the strategies or symbols that triggered today, and see if something is worthy of interjecting into our price alerts for future notifications. So let's just start at the top and let's select this symbol and see if it's something that we want to do with it. I think it's in a range right now where I'm pretty comfortable not doing anything, so I'm just going to kind of move on to the next. Just going to kind of keep going down through the list. Now this one here is interesting. Now I want to be notified on WLH if in fact it's going to be making a high above the high today. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my cursor above this high that we saw here yesterday, and I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a price alert. And what that does is now I can specify, is this going to be a long alert, a short alert, and I can put a note in here. And I say, you know, my note is going to be, don't forget about me. So when you see a visual indication of that by this red line right here, I could grab that red line and I could move it a little bit to adjust it further. But this indication right here, it's also visible on my longer term daily chart. When this price, I can move away, look at a different symbol, and when that price crosses that threshold, my limit alert window or my price alert window is going to pop up and it's going to give me that notification. And so this is what that window will look like. Let's see if I have it down here. And so this window would pop up, tell me it's triggered, it'll flash, and then I can click on it and I can see exactly what happened. Well, this is an indication of a price alert that was triggered. It's denoted by this blue arrow and this green line. So that line used to be red before there was a triggered event. After it was triggered, it turned green. So I can go through my list and I can see exactly, you know, how successful was I. I put this RVNC in a while ago, right? But only today did it happen to cross above it, and it gave me that signal. Certainly had opportunity to establish a position, and it moved away. That's the type of information that the price alert window offers you, and it's really extremely valuable. And you can have this in a variety of different states. These happen to be my triggered. Well, I'm looking at everything right now, but you can have it focused specifically on just the triggered events, or you could be looking at just the events that are working. That means these are events it's listening for something, it's waiting for the event to occur, and when it does, it'll go ahead and provide that notification. As a little side note, we do also offer SMS and email notifications of signals from an alert window. So with that, you can go to our website and go into the support, and you can set up the SMS alert, and I've got that set up and it works really well, and it could be for your mobile or it could just be for your general email, but that's just another little aside that most people don't know is available, but it is functional. So let me do this, guys. Let me kind of refocus on questions and see if you guys have anything specific for me. I've been kind of rambling for a while here, so I'd love to address something specific. So Ricky, are you asking to show the limit alert functionality one more time on how that works? Okay, so in order to set a limit alert, you want to do that from our chart. And from the chart, let's just say I want to go ahead and let me delete this VRX. I'm just going to highlight it and delete it so that it's gone. So once that's gone, I'm going to set up a price alert here in VRX. I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to set 2 of them up so that I don't forget about this particular symbol tomorrow, and I'm going to bookend it. And that means I'm going to set a limit alert above the high today, and it really did close pretty well. It ran a little bit after hours, so I want to set a price alert above the after hours high. So I'm going to right-click, create a price alert, and I'm going to use that number. I could adjust it if I want, and I'm going to say looking to the upside. It's a long position. I could say that this is only going to be good for a week, and after a week, forget about it. If it hasn't made that move, there's not enough steam for me to be interested. I don't want to do that in this case, so I'm going to uncheck it, and then I'm going to hit save. So now VRX is going to be a working alert. Okay, and so if I come in here, VRX happens to be a working alert, looking from a long from below. Okay, that means it's going to cross. But here's another thing I want to do. I want to be alerted to this stock if it pulls back a little bit. And it's still going to be a long for me because I'm not going to be making it below the low. I'm going to go right here. I'm going to make a right click, create a price alert at 29.15. This to me is going to be a long though. I'm going to get long on the pullback if all the market conditions are looking like it. Get long on the and then I'll save it. So now what I've done is you can see I have 2 different lines in here, and if I think that's too low, I can adjust that a little, or not low enough, I can adjust that, move it down a little bit. So now I've essentially bookended VRX. I'm going to be notified at some point if this breaks above it, and I'm also going to be notified if it comes back and giving me an opportunity to get a better price. So that's how someone would be using the limit alert. And then if, for instance, if I was to go to my triggered view, let me uncheck working. So I'm just looking at triggered. You're going to see the since triggered field in the upper left-hand corner. Well, because we're allowing you to denote whether this is a long or a short signal, once that trigger has been triggered, we're then keeping track of the profitability of that particular signal. So for instance, if I was to sort my price alerts on dollars since triggered, and I go to the Apple, you can see this is where I got long Apple at this cross right here, and this happens to be the best winner from a dollar perspective, maybe not from a percentage perspective, but that's how this particular since triggered will work. And if I was to right click in here and delete that particular signal, I'm going to lose that $10 that I had, and now it's at 141. So Robert is asking if our software works on a Mac. And we do have, well, yes, the software works on a Mac. It works through 2 different ways you can use it on a Mac. You can use our web version, or you can use it through Parallels or VMware. So yeah, through a virtualization window is probably the best way, but we do have a web interface for our software. Let me pull that up real quick so you can see how easy. Now, one of the things, I don't have Holly in it just yet, but work has just started on bringing Holly into the web. So if I just go to TradeIdeas and I hit this Launch TI Web, this is a very robust, let me log in right here. It's a really robust web version because what it does is it allows free-floating windows. You can move your windows around. So if I blow that up, I can then bring in an alert window, move that, and you can create a very robust workspace. So the best solution for mobile, well, like if you're on an iPad, this works really well for an iPad. Just depends on how much you're trying to do from the mobile. I've got the mobile setup where you have the signals that you have set up in an alert window being fed to you through the SMS or through a web interface. We also have an older version of our web program. So let me show you what that looks like, because it really feeds off well from the SMS and the email alert. So let me bring in one signal that I just got. So this would be an email that I received right here, and with that, there's this tiny URL that I included, which is really the older version of our software in a web form. But this works really nicely on a phone, because you can take any one of the alert windows that you have, and this link right up here, this URL, it's really just the collaboration link. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to come over here. Let me create a new alert window. And it's going to be a bullish window, and let's just do a new highs on 2 times relative volume. So this is a new high on 2 times relative volume, and then I can right click in this window. If I go to collaborate and I just copy this link right here, I can just paste it right here. So now what I have is I have my new high window, the same thing that I have here, running through this web interface, and this is something that you could have running on your phone. Works pretty nicely. So Elizabeth is asking if you can have these both running at the same time. Someone answered yes, but okay, so yeah, well, you can, but you can't. So the reality is that it'll log the last one off. So if I was to log into the web version, it'll log off my application. I happen to be using 2 different IDs right now, so that's why I'm not logging myself off. But we make it incredibly easy to get yourself back connected. If in fact, so let me log off here. Let me log myself off. So now what I did is I'm using the ID that I'm using for my application right here. And within 30 seconds of time, this window right here, this ball will turn red, letting me know that another user is connected to my account. But if I was to just then double click on that red ball, it'll reconnect for me. Yeah, so now it just turned red. Tells me here, if I go to account, that another user has connected under my username. But if I just come over here and I double click, okay, well, yeah, it connects. It just took a little bit of a second or two to illustrate that. Okay, any other questions, guys? All right, Paul. So Paul's asking a question about Holly and how to make money with Holly. So first of all, I want to explain that Holly is not a black box, a buy-sell signal machine. That's just not what she is. But what she's doing is she's using statistics to her favor. And every signal that's being generated here in this system right here is being generated because of statistics, because of number crunching, because of odds, and because of historical results. And so the way that you would use, I mean, it's kind of a tough question. You're asking me, how do you make money in the stock market? And Holly is just one of many tools. What I would suggest to you would be to go to our trading room, join Barry in the trading room, see what he's doing with it. He's not taking every AI signal. That's not how he trades, and everybody trades a little bit differently. But if you're looking for someone to be offering you some ideas along the way during the trading day that have true statistics behind it, then this is something that you're going to want to be paying attention to. And like I said, it's not a buy-sell signal type of machine. We're giving you a variety of different metrics along with these signals to ensure that everything is working in the right way. That means the market's moving in the direction that it should be moving. There's buy pressure if you're going long, and there's sell pressure if you're going short. You know, this is trading in the path of least resistance, and that's a lot of what Holly does, and takes very basic trading rules and applies them to these algorithms and strategies. So Paul, yeah, nothing is automated here. So everything that you would do from initiating a position would be done through your broker, and it would be done in a very manual way. I mean, for instance, if a signal is generated here in the AI window, you would click on that symbol, you would look at it on the chart, see if this is something that is appealing to you, look at the success of that strategy during the day. So if I had just my active strategies engaged, look at these strategies. You know, if I've lost if I've lost 3 out of 3 trades on a particular strategy, and that strategy generates a new signal, well, use that information to your own benefit, right? She's not going to stop trading just because she's 0 for 4. This is emotionless trading, and that's really the best kind of trading. She's just looking for opportunities that exist in the market. So with respect to someone's asking about, PK's asking about options and futures. We don't look at future data at all, but we do look at a modicum of options data. Like I said, we're connected to Oprah, and we do receive some options data. It's all from the root symbol, keeping track of total option contracts, number of calls, number of puts. But what's interesting about how we look at options, if I bring up the options channel right here, it's a specific metric that we keep track of, and that's the options volume today percentage. And what that does is, that's like a lot of our really special filters, that's telling us how much options volume is taking place right now compared to normal for that stock, for that security. So, you know, all of these symbols right here, these guys are all trading an incredible amount of options volume compared to normal. And then you can utilize that metric and incorporate it into a strategy or just a list of stocks. So the top list is going to give you that list of stocks where I see all the stocks that have really super high options volume compared to normal, but that window below it right here is feeding me some different alert ideas based upon that options volume, depending upon where it is. So Richard, with the description of each of the AI strategies, that is coming into the software. It hasn't gotten here quick enough, but that is coming. So you'll be able to select the AI channel and be able to select a particular strategy and see exactly what's the what's the nuance of that strategy. What is it trying to accomplish? What's the power hour trying to accomplish? Well, the power hour, it's really looking for some type of running down move on a stock that's somewhat strong in a strong market. So looking to get a pretty good price on a stronger type stock, looking for an upward type of thrust. And each of them has a little bit of a different nuance. When you pull some of the guys up, you'll see that, like for instance, fading the 52-week high. I mean, there's no nuance there. You know exactly what's happening. It's a stock that hit that 52-week high, and based upon certain footprints and certain metrics and statistics, the odds look like it's not going to continue to push through that 52-week high. And there are other things that it's looking at, not just that stock, but the market in general, the S&P, the Qs, or the spiders, the Qs, the diamonds, and different time frames of those. So yeah, I mean, I could show you how to set up a new window and backtest it, but I can't guarantee that that would provide a fruitful result. So let me just kind of go into an alert window here, and let's set up our concept. So I'm going to go ahead and go to configure, start from scratch, so I have nothing in here. And so my concept here is I'm going to be looking for a stock that's, if I can type, resistance crossing above a resistance level. Let's add that alert. I want that resistance to have been building for at least 2 hours. Let's go into my filters. Definitely put my price filter of 5. I'm going to put my maximum, min of 5, maximum of 80. My volume today has to be 100,000 shares already occurring. So volume today, this is not my average daily volume. My average daily volume, this guy has to be doing on average 350,000 shares a day. I want to make sure that for this crossing above resistance to be applicable, the stock is up at least 1% for the day. So it's a stock that's up a little bit. Also, I want to make sure that on average, the stock is doing 10% more volume than normal, and that's cumulative through the day. So I'm putting a 1.1 ratio. 1 is normal. So if I put a 1 there, that means it has to be doing at least normal volume. 1.1. Position in range, where is it in relationship to its intraday high or low? Let's say it's got to be in the upper 20% of that range for the day. And again, guys, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of hypothesizing on a strategy, thinking of, how would this do if I was to then buy every instance of this type of signal. Another thing I could do is I only want to do it when the spiders are, let's say, up over the last 15 minutes. And I could say, well, I don't want to say for the day, but let's just call this my initial strategy crossing resistance. Okay, so this is my alert window right here, and the system's running really slow. Okay, so I'm going to right-click in here. I'm going to go to Backtest Strategy, and now I have to come up with another hypothesis. So what is how long do I want to hold this for? And you have the option, well, first of all, when do I want to initiate positions? I'm going to say, I'm going to wait 15 minutes after the market, let that early volatility subside, and I'm not going to trade the last, well, let's trade it all the way up to the end. And I'm going to do that because I want to show you the time filter that's generated. Timed exit, we'll hold it for 60 minutes. It's a starting spot. You could hold it to a particular time through the day. You could hold it for multiple days if you'd like. And I'm not going to put in any stop losses right now or profit targets. Let's just let it run, and for the sake of time, I'll just do 30 days, but you could ratchet that up to 63. And let's just simulate the buy. And let it run through. So now what it does here is it goes back to our servers, and it takes a look at that strategy. It has no idea what symbols could have gone through it and triggered it. So let's see what we come up with. This is actually not a terrible starting point, but you have to understand a few things. So profit factor, that's the sum total of all the winning trades over the sum total of all the losing trades. So Paul, the back testing can go back 60 trading days, and that's a full quarter of data. So it's 3 months. Profit factor, sum total of winning over losing. The total number of trades is obviously way too many. You would never be able to or would want to execute a strategy with this many trades. But again, this is a starting spot. And the starting spot, if we go to the optimization area, this is where I could really start to refine my stuff and see exactly, am I successful on stocks that are above $50? Well, I would argue that probably it would be a good spot to cut it, but I'm not going to do that right now. I would never cut price initially. I would look to filters first. But let's look at the time of day. This is interesting as well. Let's even break it down further. So this is looking for a 60-minute interval. I'm going to break this down into 15-minute intervals. So remember, I'm not trading for the first 15 minutes of the market. So at 6:45 to 7 o'clock, I didn't do very good. This is not a good predictive time for me to be implementing this strategy. So what the software is telling me is start this thing at 7 o'clock. Don't do it at 6:45. Just one of the things that it's telling me. I could go even a little bit more fine-tuned here, break it into 5-minute intervals, take a look at that first 15 minutes and see exactly how that really manifested itself. And in that area where I got slaughtered here, there were 147 trades. I only won 36% of the time. So it breaks it down into these various intervals that I could really examine. But the real power of the odds maker, like I said, is this optimization area in the other filters where I can go through each of the filters in trade ideas. I mean, look what this is telling me right here. A stock with a 10-day range greater than $10. This is how I did. This is how I fared. Now, there were only about 30 symbols that met that criteria, but this is how I did compared to the other data sets. Let's look at it in percentage. Maybe that becomes a little more interesting. Break it into different intervals. And this allows you to really slice and dice the data so you can see exactly what's going to have the biggest impact on my strategy. But look at the logic here. Here's a strategy where we're looking at the 120-minute range. That's the 2-hour range in dollars. And here, anytime that 2-hour range is greater than $2, I'm not doing great. Well, let's make it $4. I did make some good money here, but greater than $4, it's just not very successful. So this would tell me, and what I would use the software to do is I would right-click right here. And when you right-click, again, you're going to be presented with my menu comes up, you're presented with some options, and these options here allow you to go back in and configure this right from this grid right here. So if I want to set the max value of the 120-minute range to 399, I just select it. It's going to go into the configuration. It's going to go ahead and add that particular filter right at that spot, and then I can hit OK. So there's the filter that it added. I hit OK, and now this window right here has that filter in it. If I was to run the odds maker again, I wouldn't have anything greater than 4 in this window right here. But then you go through the rest of the data and you really see, maybe nothing over 18% would be worthy in this particular filter. All right, so I hope that was helpful for you. Literally, the odds maker is something that you could spend hours and hours and hours on to really understand how these different data points affect the strategy. All right, so Leah's asking me a question in response to the time. Time zone can be set independently in TradeIdeas in your PC clock. Oh, Lee's helping someone, so I appreciate that. Yeah, so we do have, if you go to the tools section right here and go to options, you're going to see a time zone section right here, and you can really kind of fool TradeIdeas so that it's not using your standard system clock. Maybe you're on Pacific time like me, but you want to see Eastern time. Don't know why you would, but if you would, that's what you would do, and you could just go ahead and change that right here. And so this is important for some international users too. I think that's where most of this really comes into play. A lot of nuances in the software though, so take a moment to go through this. If you just want to single click on an alert, you can set that up as opposed to double clicking, and some configuration setups. So yeah, so a place to read more on alerts and filters, absolutely. Open up a, you can probably get there from the website, but I'm not exactly sure very quickly to tell you how to do it. But from any alert or top list window, right click in the window, go to configure so that you're on this search tab. So when that search tab comes in here, you go here, and let's say you want to find, well, just go to new high. Here's the best way to do it. Go to new high and select help. What it's going to do is it's going to launch your browser, and this page right here, which can be intimidating to some, really is kind of the master document on the software on the definition of the various alerts and filters. So if you want to know what this change from the open and bars means, you just click here and it'll tell you that. So everything's hyperlinked right there. All right, guys, we're getting close to the end. If you have any more questions, now would be the time. I'm glad that's your homepage, Leon. Good bathroom literature. All right, let me bring Scott back, and he can, I didn't close the window, can tell you about some specials that we're offering right now.
Yeah, awesome. So we do like to extend a way to save money to those of you who are attending who don't currently have a subscription or who might want to upgrade by getting the AI or changing from a monthly to a yearly. So this code's good this week until the end of business on Friday, and it's Holly6, and it's all caps, so capital HOLLY, number 6, just like you see it entered there. On checkout, it takes half off your first month, and then again, there's no contract, renews at $99. It takes 20% off your first year. You get the first year for just $710, and then you're locked into the $888, even if we raise the rates. Or buy the lifetime access for the AI odds maker and get 30% off of that for $770 lifetime. Any of these individually would be great and a great upgrade, but if you want to, for example, if you're on the monthly and you want to add AI and get into the year at the same time, these codes do work on our combo page, which you can get to by going to bit.ly/AI Holly, all in caps. And I've also included a handout in the handouts panel of your GoToWebinar presentation interface. You can click on the handouts panel and that PDF to download it, and it has links that take you right there. Robert, yeah, email info@TradeIdeas, and we'll try and help you out with a one-on-one. Maybe we'll show you something, hop on the phone call with you or something. Just info@trade-ideas. And then if you want to change to the next screen there, Brad, there's the link to the URL that I was talking about, and it takes them to a page where they can purchase the package of the year and the lifetime odds maker in one place and use that code. So go to that bit.ly link, bit.ly/AIHolly, all in caps, enter Holly6, just like you see it, and it'll drop the price from 1988 to 1480 for the whole thing, for the year, for the lifetime odds maker license, and then you renew at 888 the following year. Saves you $500, over $500 immediately. Great way to get into Trade Ideas or to upgrade and lock in before we go through another rate hike at some point later this year. Thanks everyone for attending. Any questions at all, email us, info@trade-ideas. Follow us on Facebook. We're TradeIdeas Pro at Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Dan Merkin is Trade Ideas 1. We also have the regular feed, which is Trade Ideas. Lots of good stuff going on there. But the best way to ask us questions is the info@trade-ideas.com email address. You can also call us during business hours if you want to schedule something. Thanks everyone for attending. Thank you, Brad. There'll be a replay of this up later tonight. And
Thanks, Scott.
yeah, I'll see you guys later in the evening webinar. Trade of the Week webinars tonight. You should have gotten an email reminder if you're already on the list. If you're not on the list, you should sign up. We've got pop-ups all over our website. Thanks, guys.